Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for attending today's webinar. I'm Yana Ramos, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's presentation titled E-Invoicing Webinar in the UAE, What it Means and How to Prepare. So before we begin, let me briefly introduce you to who we are. We at the MKCA are a specialized advisory firm delivering expert guidance in tax, compliance, and regulatory readiness. With extensive experience supporting UAE businesses across VAT, corporate tax, and digital compliance, we focus on practical business-driven solutions that create real impact. So today we are honored to have with us our guest speaker, Mr. Mahmoud Hamdi. Mr. Hamdi, our business transformation and innovation specialist, has been leading e-invoicing implementation and change. With his hands-on experience implementing new systems, aligning finance and IT teams, and managing the stakeholder change that turns a regulatory requirement into a working daily process. He's also translating regulation into operating reality, delivering tailored solutions that aligns with the Ministry of Finance guidelines with going live on e-invoicing. And so before we begin, feel free to type any questions you have during the presentation in the chat box. We will address them after the presentation. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Hamdi as he takes us to today's topic.
Sorry, the mic was on mute. Thank you everyone for joining us. Hello everyone. So before we start talking about everything about e-invoicing, talking about penalties, timelines, and everything else, I want to tell you all something. Whenever I talk with someone about e-invoicing and how you think the e-invoicing will be in the UAE, they say something like, it will be like a governmental portal where we issue our invoices, download them as a PDF, and send them by email, like we always do in our accounting software. And in the reality, this is not e-invoicing under the UAE new framework. And the gap between what is the e-invoicing is really are and what people think about it, this is why this whole webinar exists. And if you are giving me your attention for the next 30 minutes and ask your questions in the chat, you will walk out from this webinar knowing more than 99% of the people in the UAE about e-invoicing. So now we all are clear. Let's start by defining what the e-invoicing is really are. To define it properly, we should know what is the e-invoicing is not, because this is the biggest misconception. So the e-invoicing is not your normal PDF that you send by email, because the PDF technically it's not readable for machine or for people network. By the way, people network is the network the UAE have chosen to make the new e-invoicing framework. We will talk more about this later. It's not also your scanned JPG image or something. It's not the printed copy. Even if signed, it's still not an e-invoice. So the e-invoice is like a machine readable format because it will be on the people network, and this specific network reads like XML based format. Okay. And it's also validated by the FTA because this machine readable format in the people network gets like instant validation from the Federal Tax Authority. And the invoicing is already operating in more than 90 countries now, and it's growing to like 150 countries in the next like couple of years. It's planned. So why the UAE is taking this move? Before we talk about this, we will take this poll. Please answer this in the chat. If you answered this question well, this means that you have understood like the first thing that we have talking about, and you will understand most of the webinar. Okay, let's move for why this change is happening, why the UAE is implementing a new e-invoicing system, and why it's different about like the other e-invoicing system in the region. We'll talk about this in depth. So firstly, in the current system, like in the current reality now, in the UAE, the Federal Tax Authority doesn't know about your transaction until you file them in your quarterly VAT filing, especially if you are doing B2B or B2G. The government need to have like a full oversight over these operations in these areas in B2B and B2G especially. So, and they now don't know until you file your VAT. So what is the solution? The solution is whenever you issue an invoice or receive an invoice, making any transaction between a supplier or a client or a customer, the FTA will get instant copy, like in near real time. They will get a copy of your tax data and they will have it with them. And also, it will reduce fraud and error. How it will reduce fraud and error? Because some companies are operating using cash only, and they are not filing like proper tax return. We know this because we have so many cases that gets like heavy fines because they are filing wrong VAT or like misleading VAT. So the UAE will like have like made a research, extensive research about how much money they are losing in this misleading VAT filing. Also, how many money they are losing for refund that shouldn't be refunded because the refund have like conditions to be refunded. So to solve this problem, they like now implementing the UAE invoicing new framework that will solve most of this problem. And also, you will get a validation from the FTA. You will not wait for 3 months to know that your invoices is correct or not. Then you are correcting them, sending again to your client, or even contacting your supplier for missing information, missing TRN or something. So when you get instant validation, you will act fast. And also for a global alignment, the UAE is a leader in the global scene, and they are implementing like the best solution in the world because the model that the UAE have chosen, it's called the decentralized model. And this model specifically is one of the best models. We will talk about this. Now, this is like very important for everyone. Are you in the scope? Like, are you in the scope of the e-invoicing? Because like I think there is so many companies that think it will not be implemented on them. It will be like for the big players or for the big companies only. But in the reality, it's not. It's like for every person making a transaction in the UAE, regardless if they are registered for VAT or not. But there is some exceptions. These exceptions, for now, it's the consumer-based transaction. Like if there is a consumer in the equation, then for now, you are out of scope. Okay, out of the scope of the e-invoicing, and you will not have to issue an electronic invoice. And the reason is simple, because this consumer, like the normal buyer, like every one of us when buy something, he is not in the Babel network. And the e-invoicing section, the e-invoicing like itself or framework, it's about making your transaction on this network. So the FTA get its copy and the buyer gets its copy, and it's within a network, and this network is achieving the goals that we have talked about in the previous slide, like transparency, reducing fraud, global alignment, and faster validation. It all be achieved in this Babel network. It's very important. And also, this is like one of the misconceptions. If I am not VAT registered, I will not register for e-invoicing. No, you still have to register for e-invoicing even if you are not VAT registered yet. And you may ask, but you will not have like a tax number or TRN. No, you will have something called TIN. It's different than TRN. It's like the first 10 numbers if you are already VAT registered. And if you are not VAT registered, you will apply and get your TIN. Okay, because this TIN you will use in your Babel network. And you will also have something called Babel ID. We will talk about this. So there is more exclusions, but it's like few of them. Civilian activity. What defines a civilian activity? So the civilian activity means it has no competition from the private sector, like issuing license, issuing Emirates ID, providing like services like that, like this. They will charge money for it, but it's not in a competition with the private sector. So they will not have to implement the e-invoicing framework. Okay. Also, some airlines transaction where like electronic invoice is already issued, like upgrading your seat, booking your flight, you get an electronic invoice. And also these companies have like their own network, and like the goals that we are talking about, like transparency, reducing fraud, and so on, for validation, it's achieved already. So they still outside of the scope, and also goods imported like by the airlines or something, it's still outside of the scope, but for a specific period. The period is 24 months. Okay. Also, we have financial services. When we are talking about financial services, now I am mentioning that already I am mentioning loans and interest, because loans and interest already excluded from VAT in the VAT law. Okay, so they will remain excluded from e-invoicing as well. But bank charges will be in the scope. Like any standard rated financial service will stay in the scope, because it's standard rated. It will remain standard rated, and it will be on the e-invoicing. Okay. Then let's talk about the timeline of implementing the e-invoicing. When we are talking about timeline, we will talk about like the timeline for mandatory and also for voluntary or for pilot program. Let's talk about the like penalty-free timelines. They are the voluntary and pilot program. The pilot program is a program conducted by the Ministry of Finance, where they will start from July 1st to invite some companies, some specific companies. They will invite them formally, and they will have to accept or reject the invitation from the Ministry of Finance to start testing the e-invoicing system. And when I am saying start testing the e-invoicing system, I'm not saying the government is like testing if the system will be implemented or not. It will be implemented. They are testing how it will operate in the real life, in day-to-day life, how it will operate, what is the problems that they will see and they will solve. And when they go live in 2027 with mandatory phases, they will have like everything solved. Okay. And also in the same date, in parallel, they will start something called the voluntary phase. This voluntary phase, it's open for everyone, like any company, regardless of their revenue size, to start implementing and sending and like transmitting e-invoicing or e-invoices in the PayPal network. And in this period, you will not get fined if you haven't issued like an invoice electronically and you choose it to issue this invoice using your normal old software. It's also okay. You will not get fines until your mandatory deadline. Now let's talk about mandatory deadlines. Like the phases here, it's like a smart way to implement the system. Like it's a very smart way. So phase one, it's for the businesses that are making equal or more than 50 millions of revenue. And how you know if your business making this or not, it's based on your recent accounting year. Mostly it will be 2025. Okay. So if you are making a revenue more than or equal 50 million, you will be in phase one. It's the first mandatory phase. Okay. And it will start from January 2027. You will start going live from January 2027, but you must have chosen your service provider back on 31st of July 2026, means like in 3 months or something. So there is also the second phase. It's for a smaller group of companies that they are making less than this threshold, mean less than 50 millions. And these companies will have to go live on the system 6 months after the big companies, like in starting from 1st of July 2027. Also, they have to choose a service provider from 31st of March 2027. Then the government entities will follow, because the government entities will also be in invoicing. So if you are dealing with government, issuing invoices for government or getting invoices from them, They will be in the system like 3 months after the smaller group of companies. It will be in October 2027. Now, I'm reminding you, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. We will answer the most common of them. Now, let's talk about like the heart or the foundation of the e-invoicing. It's the five corners model. This is how the UAE is intelligently built their model. Okay. So instead of making themselves like the Federal Tax Authority or the Minister of Finance in the middle between the buyer and the seller, like centralized model like what's implemented in the region already, they have made another model. This model is decentralized, and this model has like several benefits because it will not go down if one entity servers go down, everything will go down. This is the centralized model. But in the decentralized, if a system go down, you like have more options and you will still operate, and it will be like a smaller group, not the whole ecosystem. This is the difference between the centralized and decentralized. Okay, there is also another type of system. It's called the clearance model. It's implemented in Italy, and this means like even if it's decentralized and the FTA is not in the middle or the tax authority is not in the middle, they have to review your invoice before you send it to the buyer. But the UAE haven't also implemented this. They implemented five corners model, and this model is simply working like when you want to send an invoice, like you are the seller now, you are issuing invoice for your client, your customer, or whatever, you will have to send it first to your service provider. Let's call this ASB during the webinar, accredited service provider. It's accredited by whom? By the Ministry of Finance, not by the Federal Tax Authority, because the Ministry of Finance is the authority who approve or accredit the service providers in the UAE. Okay, and they are few now. So you will send your invoice to your ASB. Your ASB will send it to your buyer ASB first. And in the same time, he will send a copy to the Federal Tax Authority. So now your invoice have gone to your ASB and the Federal Tax Authority. And the buyer ASB, it haven't delivered to the buyer yet. So the buyer ASB will confirm the tax data and your people ID and the buyer people ID, if everything correct, they will send the confirmation back to your ASB and to the Federal Tax Authority. If everything correct, it will be sent to the buyer. Okay. And when the transaction is completed, the Federal Tax Authority also will send the confirmation for your ASB, and your ASB will send this confirmation to you that your transaction is successfully completed. Okay. So this is simply the five corners model. Okay, now let's talk about the operation side of the e-invoicing. Like this is now coming, and this is, I am not going to say complicated, but this is like needs some real work. And by the way, this real work should have been done from the implementation of the VAT law, not from the e-invoicing law. So now we are talking about how to solve your tax problem more than how you get ready for the e-invoicing, but they are the same. Okay, so you will have to change your processes. Like this is important. You was issuing like your invoice from your software. I know like there's some companies still today they are still issuing their invoicing manually, like Word file. So you will have to change all of this. You will have to like get a proper system for invoicing because you will be connected or integrated with your ASB, your accredited service provider. How you will be integrated? Would you like to be integrated by like still making manual invoices, like making fields in Excel and send them to your ASB to send them? It will take more time. But if you have a proper system and your system is already integrated with the ASB, it will be better. It will be much better. You will get faster validation. You will get a proper system. You will get like everything organized, everything ready for e-invoicing. Now, talking about systems, I'm not talking about any system, but your system should have 52 mandatory fields. These are the mandatory fields for e-invoicing. They will be 52. And for like out of scope transaction, it will be 49. So we are talking about a huge number of fields, and not your system is the only one who need to be ready for these fields. Also, your current data that you require from your client, do you require like from them their trade license number? Do you put this in the invoice? It will be mandatory to put this in the invoice. And if they are a free zone, it will be mandatory to name their free zone in the invoice. So this in the past wasn't like mandatory, and most of companies doesn't issue an invoice containing like the free zones that have issued the trade license for the buyer. No one does this, but it will be mandatory. Now, you will have to have like internal controls and higher accuracy, because now your data is with the FTA in real time, not after 3 months, and it will get reviewed in real time. Okay. You will also have to be more like time sensitive. Why time sensitive? Because you have to issue the invoice in less than 14 days from receiving the payment. Like the gap between the payment and the invoice itself should be maximum 14 days. And this is not a new, it's already in the VAT law. Okay. But most of the companies like gets this delayed or something. But in the new law, in the e-invoicing, you have to do it. You have also to put in your invoice how you will get paid and within how many days you will get paid. Like the due date should be in each invoice you issue to your clients. And it also should be in each invoice you receive from your supplier. Now, let's talk about the penalties. So talking about the penalties, there is like different types of categories of the penalties. Like there is a penalty for not choosing or signing with ASB, accredited service provider. There is also a penalty for every single invoice you are not issuing on the PayPal network or in the new e-invoicing framework. There is also a penalty for every single credit note or debit note. There is also a penalty for every system delay. Like if your system with ASB have delayed like or like anything happened for the system for 1 day, you will get fined 1,000 dirhams. You will get fined, not the ASB. This is also important in choosing ASB to choose a good one. So let me give you an example to see the reality of the fines, how it will be in the UAE. Like this is what we will see in the late 2027. If there is a company issues like 500 invoices, and this company have ignored the e-invoicing like implementation for 1 year. Like their mandatory deadline is January 1st, 2027, and they haven't like chosen the service provider or started issuing e-invoicing until the end of the year of 2027. How it will be? Firstly, it will be 5,000 dirhams for each month you are not implementing an accredited service provider. It's 5,000 dirhams a month. It will be also 100 dirham for each invoice you are not issuing on the e-invoicing system, maxed at 5,000 dirhams per month. Means if you are issue 500 invoices, like more than 50 invoices, you will not get more fines. You will get only 5,000 dirhams fines maximum for not issuing e-invoicing. This will make the number 10,000 dirhams per month. Like delaying this for 1 year mean 120,000 dirhams. 120,000 dirhams for delaying the system for 1 year. For 6 months, 60,000 dirhams. For 3 months, it's 30,000 dirhams. This cost is still way more than the cost of accrediting a service provider. Sorry, for choosing a accredited service provider and signing with them. And it's also more than the yearly subscription with them. So it's better to start early. And also you should start early because you will need time to integrate your system with the ASB, to start testing if your like system like generating the invoicing properly and it's transmitted through your ASP like correctly. Contact your suppliers to know if they are on the Babel network or not, and get their Babel ID. It will take some time. Okay. So if you have any questions about the penalties, leave it in the chat and I will answer it. Now, let's talk more about the ASP, the role of the accredited service provider. So think of the ASP like the IT side of e-invoicing. The IT side that like it's accredited by the government to handle the IT side of this new framework. It will connect your system or integrate your system with the people network. It will also transmit your invoices, and also maybe they will need to convert them to a more readable format. If you are giving them your invoices in Excel format, because this will happen, they will have to make it a bit EE format. Okay. It will also validate the technical side of the invoice. What the technical side means, like your Babel ID, is it correct or not? Okay. Like, is the format now before transmitting is correct or not? Is it XML or not yet? Okay. And it's also will report your data to the FTA, as we said, and to the buyer service provider. It will also give you a confirmation once a confirmation on your transaction have been received from the Federal Tax Authority, because the confirmation will go to the ASB first, then it will come to you. Okay. And we will talk about the role of ASB more in this area, but later in the webinar. Okay. So let's move. We have another pool now, like who issue an electronic invoice on a B2B transaction? What do you think? Is it the buyer, the seller, or the bank? Please take time to answer this. Let's move. So now let's talk about the timing, and the timing matter a lot. So you have like deadlines to appoint your service provider, as we said, and you have also deadlines to go live on the system. So simply the deadline to appoint your service provider, this is what we are talking about in this slide for accrediting your service provider. It will be 31st of July 2026 if you are making equal or more than 50 million of revenue. If you are making less, it will be 31st of March 2027. If you are a government entity, it will be the same time as the smaller companies. It will be 31st of March 2027. Okay. And why you have to choose before this time? Like, why you don't have to wait till the last month or till the last moment, because most of us do this. Because we are talking about now at the like moment we are making this webinar, it's a 20 something service providers in the UAE, in the whole UAE. So let's talk about their capacity. They have to sign a contract with you. They have to work in your system to integrate it with the Babel ID and solve the technical issues or IT issues that will face them. They have also to allow you to start testing. They will have to give you a training on their on their portal to start issue invoices, and you will also have to test it. So it will take a lot of time. It will not happen like in a week or a couple of days or even in a couple of weeks. It will take time. And also cost predictability. This means we are talking about demand and supply, as most of you know, demand and supply. So when we are close to the deadline, there is like a lot of demand. All the companies now need to be in the people network. So the prices will may increase at this point. We have talked about testing, and I am confirming testing again. Testing is very important. We don't know if the system will work properly for every system or not. We don't know if you are ready or not. So starting testing will like reveal so much problems that you have not aware about yet. Now, let's talk about the role of a tax advisor. We have talked about the role of ASB, accrediting a service provider, and we have said they are IT people. Okay, they don't have like they don't have and they cannot provide you with the tax guidance on your process. Like as we are saying, and I need to connect this again. The point is not only e-invoicing. The e-invoicing is built about what's already issued by the FTA previously, the VAT regulations and all the regulations and amendments on the ministerial decisions issued before they still active and they will carry it forward, but in the e-invoicing framework. So you must have them in place before going live on the e-invoicing. And also, the service provider will not review the invoicing or VAT treatments. He will not review the scenarios because, there is a scenario for every transaction. There is companies who issue zero rated, out of scope, standard rated. Every invoice, depend on the scenario, will have a different transaction. If you are sending a zero rated invoice, but you have made it standard rated to your ASB, they will send it. They will keep sending it. Like if your people ID and the buyer people ID is correct, you have your TIN, you have all mandatory fields, it will be transmitted. But the transaction itself, it's not correct. Even if you have received a confirmation, once you get an FTA review or an FTA audit, it will be incorrect transaction. Okay. The ASB also, when they are implementing the system for you or integrating your system with the people network, they will not review your current process. They will not tell you there is a gap. Like they may tell you there is a gap, but they will not provide the solution. It's not their job. Their job is IT focused. Okay, and the Minister of Finance have issued a guidance 40 something pages talking about several things about e-invoicing. One of them is the rule of ASB, and they directly said the rule of ASB will be on the IT side. Okay. Now, sorry. Now let's talk about aligning invoices with tax reporting. As we said, your invoices should be following the guidelines and the regulations that have already issued before e-invoicing. It's not like a whole system, not a whole system for VAT or a whole system for making a transaction or a new tax system. The tax system remains the same. What's new is the format of the invoice itself, the system of the invoicing itself. Okay. Uh, ASB also will not review your current documentation, uh, and you will not know how documentation you need if you don't know how to properly or how to even review your current process, because reviewing your current process will require tax knowledge. This is when the role of the tax advisor comes in. He will review your current system, your current invoicing, your current taxes, how you handle this invoicing, handle this scenario in this you are dealing with multiple clients outside of the UAE, clients in the UAE, clients in maybe in Saudi or something. So every case or every scenario is different according to the VAT treatment. Okay. So if we are talking about the correct sequence, I will say you have to choose a tax advisor. Then you will have make a gap analysis for your current system. Then you must choose an accredited service provider, integrate your system, start testing, and then go live. So let's answer this poll. It's about the tax advisor. we will see if we now understood the rules of tax advisor correctly. So please answer this in the chat. Now, let's make a comparison side by side between the service provider and the tax advisor. So in the technology side and system connection, it's the rule of the ASB or accredited service provider. And for like VAT treatment, invoices scenario, compliance, like risk identification, auditing your process and seeing how you are doing documentation, it's not in the scope of the work of the ASB. And the tax advisor, he will not like handle your IT, but he will handle your tax related processes like your VAT treatment. He will identify if you have any risks or any gaps. He will also review your invoices scenario, your current documentation process. He will like make an audit because in the e-invoicing system, we are talking about real-time data to the FTA. So the FTA now have real-time data, have like big data set that they can timely compare and identify any like issue and make an audit. So you must go to this new system like as a correct start or like as a compliance. You should like be compliant with the system, be compliant with the FTA regulations about VAT itself. Okay. So let's talk about the steps that every business in the UAE must take. Firstly, you have to understand your current invoicing processes because you may be a company that have like the best system of the world, issuing invoices, having documentation, getting all the information or send to your clients a form to fill it, and you have information more than you even need. This is very good. And you may also be a company that issue invoices manually, like send them through like WhatsApp or something, or you are issuing invoices in paper and you don't have another copy. So some companies are not organized when it's come to invoicing. So you have to review your current process. And you have to identify your invoices volumes because this is if you are like have a big volume, like I know companies who are issuing millions of invoices each month, and there is companies who are issuing one invoice each month. The time that you will need to start testing or to integrate your system with the ASB is different for both scenarios. Okay, you have to review your business scenario in full because how you do business is how you get taxed or it's how you treat your VAT. So you have to review your whole system. You have to review even your contracts because now we are talking about only 14 days gap between the payment and invoice. Like, do you get like do you issue the invoice within 14 days of getting the payment? Does the payment match your due date in the invoice? Things like this needs to be reviewed and needs to be evaluated and like amended. Okay. Now you should review your current system. If you have a system, it's good. You have to review the system or even contact your vendor, like the vendor who provided the system for you, even if it's Zoho, Odoo, or any other systems. You have to contact your vendor and ask them what you will do about e-invoicing, or you will be ready for e-invoicing, and they should give you the timelines because most of the system will be ready. But you have to ask them and to make sure that they will be ready and they will implement the e-invoicing. Even some systems are now seeking to be ASB by themselves, like Zoho. Zoho declared that they like in the process of being an accredited service provider by itself. Now, you have to select and align your company with a tax advisor because you need to have a proper invoicing system. You need to have like to be 100% sure about your tax treatment. No guessing. In the new system, there is no guessing. You need to be sure or certain about your treatment, VAT treatment, or whatever. And then the final step is to select and sign your ASP. And please make sure to choose a good one because the system like this is a growing, like the e-invoicing will get even more complex in the future. Like after 2 years, it will be more complicated. Some things that was previously outside of the scope will be in the scope. So you should invest in a good ASP. Okay. Now we have reached to the point of like we are close to the end. I hope you all enjoyed this with me. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments or in the chat section, and I will answer the most common questions. We will like take now a break for 3 to 5 minutes. Then I will get back and answer your questions. Thank you, everyone.
Hello again. So to our audience, we will now take a few minutes of break. If you have any questions, you can type them in the chat box below and we will address them later. Hello again, everyone. We will now begin to address your questions. So for the first question, our audience said, thank you, Mahmoud, for the presentation. Do you have an idea about the average of ASP fees?
Okay, this is really an important and a good question. We are seeing now a wide range of fees, like between a service provider and another, it's a wide range. So I am saying the prices now are still settling or still like emerging in the UAE, but I expect in the future we will see a more competitive pricing for the invoicing, especially in 2027. So till now it's settling, but I will tell you, it's based on your invoices volume. So a company that issue 10,000 invoices per year will get a totally different price than a company that issue 100 invoice per year. Okay. I hope this answer helped you. If you still have more answer, you can contact us directly. Okay. Next question, please.
So for a follow-up question, how can small companies handle this? They have less than 10 invoices per year.
Okay, as we said in the scope, if you even issue one B2B or B2G invoice per year, you should be in the system. So you will have to take the steps like choose your tax advisor, choose your ASB, accredited service provider, start testing the system even with this low volume of invoices. It's an advantage because you will done your testing early and transmit your invoices through the People network from your mandatory deadline. Okay, next question, please.
So the next question from our audience, why do I have to subscribe to a service provider when I already have a tax agent?
It's a very good question. A very good question. Thank you for this. So the answer is you have to appoint an ASB as well because the ASB is accredited by the government to transmit your e-invoice. Like you have to transmit your e-invoices through the People network, and to do this, you have to appoint an accredited service provider. Your tax agent will definitely help you with like all the tax related side of this, but your ASB still like handle your IT, like the IT part of this. So he will transmit your invoicing. He will send you confirmation back from the Federal Tax Authority and from your buyer. He will also push the invoice from your buyer to your system in the future. So this is the IT side. Like this is the foundation that we have talked about, the People network. It works on like on the efforts of the ASB. Okay, I hope I have answered your questions. Okay.
So another question, do I have to have an accounting system?
Honestly, this is also a good question, and honestly, you don't have, but it's better to have. Like talking about documentation and tax treatment, scenarios, invoicing system, internal controls, accuracy, and even time sensitivity, you should have an accounting software. But if you don't have an accounting software, can you like appoint service provider? Yes, you can. And you can make your invoices manually and send them to your ASB, but it will not be validated in real time. Like you can make an implementation like this. You will have a folder, a shared folder with your ASB, where like you by a certain time, like by 5 p.m. every day, you will like put your invoices in this folder, and by 6 p.m. every day, the service provider will take them and transmit them. It's not real time, but it works. But it's also better to have a system. Okay, I have answered this question. I hope I have benefited you. So next, please, or we have done.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Hamdi. Next question is, are you approved ASP?
No, MKCA Group is not an approved ASB, but we have a partnership and we can help you in appointing an accredited service provider.
So we have our last question. Yes. From a system perspective, are there any POS or accounting software solutions we should consider to ensure alignment with the upcoming e-invoicing requirements?
Okay, like no system is fully ready with the 52 mandatory fields till now, but you can contact, like if you are appointing a new system or implementing a new system, you can contact the vendor, talk with them about e-invoicing and let them walk you through how they will handle it. And if you are going to take my advice, please choose like established this system in the UAE because most of the established systems will adapt early to this change. So choosing a more established system in the UAE, like UAE native software or a popular one, will make this change faster and easier for you. Okay, next please.
Oh, I think that's it for the questions, Mr. Hamdi. Thank you again for your
Okay.
wonderful and very informative presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Yan. Okay, now we will break. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you have enjoyed the session and I hope I have fulfilled my promise and now you know more about most people about e-invoicing. Please, if you have any further questions, you can still drop them in the chat and we will get back to you. And you also, I will share now our like contact information with you. This is our contact information if you want to contact us. And if you and also we will like now put in the chat like 3 questions about rating the webinar. Please answer them. This will help us make better webinars in the future, and it will not be the last one. We will make frequent one. So please answer them.
So, Mr. Hamdi, we have an additional question.
Okay.
50 million includes B2B only or overall revenue?
No, it's overall revenue. Like if your overall revenue, like if you are selling to B2B and B2C and you are making more than like 50 million in revenue, it's like the whole revenue is 50 million. You still have to register in the first phase for 50 million and the e-invoicing system will be implemented only on your B2B transaction. Like let's have an example. Like let's say we have a client that issue like 100 invoices for B2B for B2C each month, and he is also issuing one invoice for B2B each month. He will still have to be on the system for this one transaction of B2B, and his revenue will be determined based on the all invoices.
So thank you for that again, Mr. Hamdi.
You're welcome. Please, everyone, answer the rating questions. It will help us a lot. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, everyone.